Okay, sorry, I had to let Tank out, bro. Had to let Tank out.
But it clearly worked out. Maybe you don't
So
necessarily.
MV took map 1. We missed that, but this is map 2.
To your rough position of where you wanted it to be, right around that corner there. Tap now, gonna play hyper aggro here with the Moon Knight, who now has 2 of those crescent blades. And we go with the Eternal Bond. Window gonna find Kinetic though. Tap onto Pinnacle Month, onto Usher, and they go right back at them angrily and take back this next fight, heading towards point 1.
All right, so MV's attacking.
That was the benefit from Team Kiri there in the last fight, is that they used that Cloak and Dagger Eternal Bond, and that was sort of what enabled them, as long as they disengaged Window on that push. So they did a good job with that. But now here's that copy from Sector. They're going to try to retouch as well against Envy, who do have that Hurricane ready to go and maybe counter it. But here's a brutal, or sorry, here's just everybody in terms of damage output from that Storm in the neutral fight, doing so much.
Yeah, we haven't seen Tap on the Moon Knight in, on the big screen here, but I mean, clearly a ton of practice on the Moon Knight. Kinetic going to pull out and take Window through the Hurricane of Speedery, who is dropping back with the team to reset, as they are very close. A minute 40 on, plenty of time to make a couple fights happen. Usher holding on to Altir. The Agamotto for Kiri. That could be.
They're running just month. They got month on Mantis. That's interesting.
On the side of Envy.
And then that Usher guy that we spectated, who's the #1 Bucky's on Tank.
Traditional composition on the attack here for Envy. Let's see how this shakes out. Alt advantage.
Moon Knight Groot.
It's
a good comp.
But it's all about who lands the most valuable ult, and that one finds a little bit, but it's not enough as they drive back Usher and try to get the eye out.
They're trying to buy time for Kinetic
Moon Knight,
to
bro.
build this.
That Moon Knight Groot ult combo is insane.
So close. Ah, jeez. I mean, it was a really good fight there from Kiri. Also swapping over to the Jeff to help kind of come back. I think regardless, that was well timed in terms of pacing from Envy. I like the idea from Kiri just to slow it down. Usher trying to go for that ult there, Shib, just to make sure he can buy time for Kinetic to build that Eternal Bond. But understanding that maybe Usher was sort of the sacrificial lamb, Envy collapsed on them eventually, making sure Kinetic couldn't build that up.
Usher is on
so
damage.
Close. The reason why Kiri was winning these fights back to back to back to back is they had the Loki copy. They go back in with that Eternal Bond. But now in this upcoming fight, it's going to be even the Eternal Bond advantage, not really in anybody's favor. But you do have that Luna Snow sustain alongside incredible damage.
They just swapped, by the way, from trip support. And it's kind of crazy because they just swapped to counter the Moon Knight. Kiri did.
Prior to this fight, very smart and strong play. And you maybe mentioned how unlucky it was that Kinetic fell before using that ult on point 1, but I'm sure that was target priority there from Envy, and that's something that at this level of play is a huge aspect of the game, understanding where ults are.
I mean, actual good gameplay now. Boys, I literally just hit GM3 and it's top 0.5%.
Onto Usher now, and we're going to try to portal cancel here for the side of Kaluj, who is just going to lock them into that spawn door beautifully, very quickly getting that done, and that's just
not simple to do, by the way.
Practice of speed. That was incredibly quick, and they're locked in. This should give them an advantage in this fight and potentially point 2.
And Sector not having ult there is huge. I mean, that surely closes out on them. I mean, they can come back. They have ults ready to go. But these duelists need to kind of come online. This is the problem. This is the same thing as we move into third phase now because of, like you mentioned, Chib, that portal block. Right now, Team Kiri, I just need to see a little bit more out of their duelists and when they have duelist ultimates. And unfortunately, I don't think it's
this guy, I remember spectating this dude, bro. He's so good.
That 2-2-2 sort of style. But right now, Envy, when they're running this triple strategist composition, it seems like they're just sort of inevitable what they're going to do. Right now, in the second fight, we have 3 minutes. And you saw how
2-1-3 with 1 Star-Lord.
Now going into the third phase of the map, 3 minutes and 6 seconds left. You could see they just had blazing fast times and everywhere else in the map.
Yeah, I mean, Kiri does have ult advantage, and that's just a product of being locked into the spawn door there. It's just inevitable at that point, but now it's about not overcommitting. 2 ults go out as Usher and Sector launch ults, and we're going to have to see more from Kiri, who are losing this fight heavily up in ult, and that's tough. As Kaluj finds Pinnacle, do we see more? Ensong comes in from Chemicals, who finds Tap, and that's a nice trade as they needed something here. Kiri got to get on their toes. They're instead playing a little bit on their heels, getting driven back into the spawn door.
Is Sheep #1 in the world right now, this dude? Usher's #3 in the world, which is funny. As of when I'm like seeing this, I literally saw that this morning.
Or get picked on. Month though going down is huge. Envy, Invisible Boundary was going to potentially help them out this fight, but Nero's coming up on the Eternal Bond, so this fight could get sustained. And they're ready to keep fighting, right? You have fully charged Kalush. He comes back in with that Sonic Seduction. Everybody's sent back. He is certainly present, and they lose 2.
And we begin again at the point 3. At this point, Nero going to find Pinnacle. It's very tough looking here from the side of Kiri as Envy is keeping this momentum, and momentum is playing a huge factor as they have not stopped at this point. Kalu going to grab Kinetic, make that 2 as Cartier Sky goes down, driving him back again into that door. 3 meters, 2, 1, and that's going to do it as Envy pushes 3 points with time.
We only tuned in at the very end, by the way, of the first map, saw Envy just dominate, and then I got back and all I saw was domination, bro.
Yeah, first point was so close. But
what do you do, Chad, if you're Kiri right now?
It was only close because they would lose Vanguards too early. They were playing a little bit over aggressive, right? Maybe a bit cocky at times when we saw, you know, because we have damage boost, because we have.
I mean, this team is stacked, bro. That Sheep dude is number 1 in the world right now. Month is one of the best healers in the game. They're running trip support,
maybe we just
by the
picked
way.
them off early, but because Kiri built up some ultimates, built up some strat ult, specifically with Kinetic, and then eventually
you guys
with
would
Sector,
just surrender.
they were able to stay alive. But after that, after maybe Windows stopped kind of going a little bit too far forward on Groot, considering you have invisible advantage.
Someone swap Squirrel Girl. There it is.
Slow it down, allow that group to get value, get work done. They just end up winning Shib, and right now, you know, you talked about
Chad,
Window last map being MVP. He sort of reined it in. Like I said, only reason
if
when
this
Kiri
team
were winning
walks
in
out of the
previous
spawn
fights was
with
because
a single thing
Window
tank,
was just going down early. He was getting KO'd a bit too soon.
I will be
Once
flabbergasted.
Window stays alive, the
If
damage
this
comes
team
just
Kiri
naturally.
walks out of this,
and you can see most KOs in the
walks
lobby
out, and they actually play. I've never in my life seen a solo thing tank, and you're going to tell me I'm going to see it at the pro level?
He's in a good place right now to help really shut down Groot. We are going to see Cartier Sky jump over to the Wolverine. I'm surprised, you know, maybe if that's the issue, if they can shut down that group pretty quickly.
Are they actually walking out of spawn with this?
I'm not sure exactly what the answer may be or what they're thinking in terms of how it's looked in scrims, but yeah, you can see now we're going to see a slight change in pace here as Kiri knows that Groot's going to be there and is pulling out that Wolverine.
They are only doing a solo Groot though. That's hard to do, bro.
We start off fight 1, Envy doing what Envy does here on Yggdrasil, keeping it tight to the spawn door. Tackle goes out for Cartier Sky. Can they collapse? And that's exactly what
that's a really good kill
to shut down the Groot, and they do as we see Window fall from.
That's a big kill for Kiri.
Punisher. This is another one of those compositions we've seen, just damage dealing compositions. So as you see chemicals there on the storm, and then Punisher just destroying walls like it's his job. Because in this moment that's another pick too. Well done by the combo here of Yucha.
I gotta start playing Wolf, bro. He's such
this
a dope
sort of
character.
Vanguard take has actually been very solid. I mean, Window now has that portal ready to go. They can even come back and delay even longer if they want, but I think they're just going to wait for everybody to sort of scout. But regardless, like you said, Cartier finding some huge grabs. This could be that adjustment they need to play that solo Vanguard versus triple Vanguard.
Turned it backwards, by the way, so they can just walk out back and not get hit.
Ultimates are available. Envy also still has that damage boost potential to kind of go for eliminations in the fight. Both Eternal Bond.
That's a very fast ult. That's really good.
But here comes Yusha early with that ultimate on the Punisher.
Final judgment out. Crystals get popped, breaking everything. Still holding on. Good utilization and patience on the shield there. Nobody falling into the enemy line as Kaluj is going to try to find one right back at him. Kiri with a good idea there from Yusha. Unfortunately did not pan out, but now Chemicals gets one out. We go to the Eye of Agamotto for Window. Lands on a few. Speedery on the Kinetic now. Numbers evened out. Who gets this? Meteor M. Bang! Finds one on a Pinnacle. Yusha falls from Kaluj, and wow, Envy retakes.
Bro, Envy is running triple tank, triple heals, bro.
Goes down, that Groot is removed.
Goats is back, boys.
Sort of, you know, take all that space. You want also, they don't have multiple Vanguard, so they can't really hold that sort of location. Regardless, Speedery was sort of the way forward for this team, for Team Envy, right? Once he built that Meteor M, he could counter that Punisher. Team Kiri sort of had that advantage, but Kaluj slowed down that push, making sure the strategist line could not keep that Punisher healthy from Yusha's side, and unfortunately, not enough damage onto the back end because of that. Now, this upcoming fight.
I mean, if anything's going to beat this, it is Wolverine.
And we begin again. Sector on the window, like you had mentioned. Envy again up in numbers. We've got a minute 40 on. Could be a couple fights here. Here goes it's Jeff. Does Jeff find a pick as Sector gets one? Oh,
Month got him, bro.
Bursted. Great focus there from Month. A little bit of a damage nerf there onto Loki and healing, but still going to find that pick. Cartier Sky onto Kaluj. Evens those numbers a little bit down. Goes a Vanguard for the side of Envy. Kiri, remember, with one Vanguard on the team right now, tries to get a tackle away from Cartier Sky. Does not land. Meteor M again. Does this one land? Not much answer. It does, but still holding on tight. I thought that was going to be focused on the group, but no. Out we go with the combination. Shields out. You sure going to fight to make that 4, and that's an attack you need to see from the side of Kiri, who looked really foolish.
That was a good combo right there, boys.
Yeah, I wonder why Speedery used that media
Groot
ram there,
Punisher,
right?
just stick them all in one spot and just mow them down, bro.
Lives that media ram, they just come back through with that Punisher ultimate, and nothing you can do versus President Punisher.
It's always the last push.
Back to back.
That wasn't even the last push.
And you got that. Well, you don't have Portal because he's there earlier too. So, and now we're going to second phase.
I mean, triple tank just kind of got melted there. I wonder if they're going to swap.
Great work from Team Kiri.
They did. So they were triple tank on that first point.
Punisher alongside, unfortunately for Envy, not playing.
And now they're trip.
Counter to that
3-2-1.
Speedery playing a
bit
more aggressive, trying to find those picks,
interesting. The other team ran. I think Kiri ran Captain America on the second point too on defense. Kind of bizarre.
Over to that Star-Lord. See how this pans out for this team that is just relying on sheer damage output.
Yeah, a little bit of momentum sickness there. You know, your team is playing so well.
Great play. Holy shit. To get back into that ult.
I do agree that Meteor M would have been a nice answer there in that moment. But yeah, not going to happen as Usher finds 3 and they press through point 1. Out we go as Kalush is going to find a few walking, make that 2. Window going to clean up Kinetic. Speedery on a Pinnacle down. Go Sector from the side of Month, and that's a team wipe as they shove them right back into the door here on point 2, but still plenty of time on with 2:20.
Someone goes, why is it called Goats?
Time from Kalush. I think that was sort of the counter to Team Kiri.
Just Google it, brother.
Jeff, right, play around that ultimate, maybe get some healing on the backside, and maybe find a pick. But regardless, they come back into that fight with some huge.
Go Google Goats Overwatch. Go Google it, bro.
God, what a pace of play change by Envy.
And Speedery gonna find Sector.
Wow, this is a great ult. They just used Captain America like aggressively to run at the spawn. That was really smart.
It's gonna be a tough push out. Well, we see a change of composition to adjust. So they are gonna have 2 Vanguards now to the side of Kiri, as we had mentioned. Kalush is still holding up here.
Wow, they're so aggressive right now.
They don't want to stop this train right now, as we see Envy walking at them once more, and down goes Sector.
My God, I mean, before they even shredded his ult, I mean, there's been 2 fights in a row. They just they do like sort of if then this statements, right? Where you have Speedery on the backside, have to double dash out, knowing that they forced everybody from Team Kiri into that spot. They go aggressive, come back through, and now they're actually doing well with the ultimates. Now we come back through in the sky with Usher, also met with Eternal Bond, but can they find picks here from Kiri? They slow down Pinnacle with
that's a good ult by Month.
Yeah, a lot of commitment for the side of Kiri. They need to take this fight, and that's a huge. It's Jeff. Will that land as almost the entire team is in it here from Chemicals, who's heading towards the edge of the map.
He choked! Oh my God!
They still find a few to it, but wow, that tree.
Yo, the tree blocked him, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
oh my gosh,
people is huge, right? That was such a good.
They still end up winning the fight, but
Envy, damn, that fight was kind of never going to go Envy's way in the first place, right? Considering how fast they played earlier, a month with the copy, trying to get something done.
Get rid of the tree.
Because of how they used the Mantis ult in the previous fight, also same thing with the Freedom Charge. They're out of ults for that fight. Chemicals, huge connection from him. Regardless, they have to close out. 30 seconds left to go. Envy was the one to snowball through this last phase. They actually get a solid fight here now with Shrouded ultimates, and also with Kalush connecting with a potential Sonic Seduction.
Yeah, and you're gonna have ult advantage.
Envy has ult advantage, bro. They can win this.
Goes out here for Kalush early on. Nero holding on with Speedery here with the dance of the butterfly, ready to cause some mayhem. Kalush gonna get one walking Pinnacle. Now gonna be kicked back into the wall. Kalush in a dangerous spot, goes down now as Kiri finds one with Usher taking out Kalush. Now trying to find an off angle, getting ready to launch this Galactic Legend, but we do get matched right back. Speedery gonna find Chemicals, even out the numbers a little bit. We are in OT. Be ready to portal as we see that change here early on for Chemicals. Who's gonna set up that portal? We're going to see everything being
Kiri doesn't have a support.
Trying to find one with the dance.
They're going to support ult. They're going to lose.
Now, can they hold on point 2, or will Kiri step up? The portal comes through. Window going to find Pinnacle. Speedery on a Cartier. That could do it here. The portal comes back through for the side of Kiri. They touch, but will it be enough as they start the final
fight? At 92%. He died. If that cloak got ult,
it's rough. I mean, Kinetic was the only reason only way they could win
if Kinetic got the ult there, they could have won that fight.
Right, you're sort of back and forth. You have that Galactic Legend in the sky, but nothing to support it. Overtime ticks down. You have incredibly long spawns, and right now, Envy looks so good. Kinetic could not build up that Eternal Bond. They win the second map, take the first series of the day in this best out of 3. Envy look still, incredibly good shit.
I didn't see the first game, but they won 2-0 on that, on Dom, so.